republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Clyde Costu. Here. Alderman Dennis Bonet. Here. Alderman Gloria Bader.
Here.
Alderman Diana.
Here.
Call the point of order. To Missouri State Statute 79070.1 that states an alderman must be a resident and an inhabitant of the city to serve as an alderman. Diana, Mrs. Smith sold her house on December the 19th, turned over her mailbox keys to the new occupants, and is no longer residing in the city, thereby voluntarily vacating her right to sit at the board.
I still have property.
I make a motion from the Board of Aldermen to remove Ms. Smith from the Board of Aldermen under the Missouri State Statute 7907.1 immediately, and ask the mayor to appoint a replacement approved by the board until the next regular election held.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mayor, I still have property till tomorrow.
It states that you have to be living here. Are you living here?
No, I'm not.
Then you're more than welcome to sit out here, but you cannot be on the board because you are not living.
May I read my resignation letter then? I had a resignation letter for this meeting.
You can read the letter, but you still cannot sit on the board.
Jesus.
So you can either sit out here or leave. Those are your choices.
I'm not leaving. But you also will be sure to vote. You'll be sure to vote when you vote on things.
Okay, I am going to appoint Pam Myers to take Diana's seat, and we will take care of all that next month. So the ordinance that we have on here, we cannot vote on it tonight, correct?
Yeah, as long as we get three.
As long as you get
Oh,
three
okay,
votes.
okay, I'm sorry.
If you don't get 3 votes, yeah, then it's no.
Okay, sorry. Okay, David, continue.
Alright, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, nobody signed up for the public forum. Okay, I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
You want to explain?
Yes, please do.
There's 3 new election laws this year. One of them has to do with if you have are having an election and there are no positions that are opposed. Like, for example, now we have one candidate for Ward 1, one for Ward 2, one for collector. There is no opposition. So this would allow us to forego an election, and it would save the city $600. Everything else is the same as far as terms and all that. The 6 years in this ordinance refers to that every 6 years you have to redo this election. But this will save us money. I got this from the Municipal League, and also the county clerk said it to me as well. Saying it's a good idea to save money. If people come in and there's really nothing to vote for. Oh yeah, please.
I'm still having trouble with this.
Okay.
Okay? What you're saying is, if we've got 2 openings, 2 people, their term's coming up 2-year term,
Correct.
and no one runs against it,
Right.
then we don't have to do that.
Correct.
But now, if there is someone running against them, then we have to have
Right,
that.
right.
Okay.
Because right now we have 3 openings, and let's say we have, 2 people running for 1 ward, then we'd have to have the election because we have an opposition, but if we just have 1 person in each slot, then we could not have, then we could forego the election and it'd save us $600, in doing so. Yeah.
except when there's a county proposition or something like that, then we have to have an election.
Right.
Correct.
So, I mean, we will still have to have printed ballots up here. Now, whether it'll cost us $600 or whatever, I don't know. But the point is that even though we don't have any candidates that are opposing the other candidates, as long as there's no other proposition to be voted on,
Right.
then we don't have to have an election.
That's correct.
But we still have to pay for the county election.
I haven't, I've only paid for one election, so I don't know what the difference is if we do this and we have no dog in the fight, if we're just
Yeah.
doing a proposition for the county or something. I do not have the answer to that as far as cost. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if we have to pay for it or not. Because, I mean,
We are-
Well, this is, we don't have to vote on this
If
tonight.
nobody, well, yeah, because this will be on the election this time around. This has to be passed by the voters.
Right.
So if we don't do it tonight, then I can't get through the deadline of January 20th to get this to the county, by the cutoff of the election day. But in this particular, like, if this case happened again, in this situation, like I said, the exact same thing happens next year, we would not have to have an election if there's no county stuff going on like there is stuff this year.
Right.
now I was confused on it,
Okay,
all right? I'm happily there.
okay.
But what about the people that are voting? They're not gonna actually know what this is. I was lost when I seen it. And then we're gonna vote on it tonight.
But see, at the election, this will be on the election.
Correct.
The people, the voters will have the choice of this. All you're voting on is to put it on there. Do you understand what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Right,
Correct.
and on the ordinance, you'll see the yes and no ballots as it will appear on the election.
I know, but the only thing I'm trying to say is the public out here is about as ignorant as this as I was 15 minutes ago. They have no clue what this means about it.
But the
They don't know what
language,
they're doing.
Right,
Right.
and this is a new thing, it just, this is a brand new election law, so I mean,
it'll be,
no one's seen it for very long.
the language will be on the ballot.
Correct.
So that way they'll be able to
And
understand.
we have
Yeah,
some people
this-
to try to educate
This part right
people on it,
here
too.
is what would be on the ballot, where it,
Okay,
Where they can
Right.
understand what they're
Right.
voting
okay.
for. Make a motion for reading of the first, reading of ordinance number 910.
So,
all in favor?
I,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's gotta be a voice vote.
Right. Bill number 910, an ordinance setting an election on April 7th, 2015 for the qualified voters of the city of St. Mary, Missouri to decide whether to forego annual municipal elections for up to 6 years if the number of candidates filing equal the number of seats up for election in accordance with section 115.124 revised statutes of Missouri. I have a motion for
Second
we
reading.
have a motion for second, reading of ordinance number 910.
Seconded.
I need to voice
Yeah,
vote.
voice vote. For this, we had to call, we got a voice vote for the second reading.
Right.
All in
All
favor, say
favor?
aye.
Aye.
I thought you meant you needed to call the names out.
Oh, no,
That's
that's,
only if you're going past the ordinance.
Okay, opposed? Okay, David.
all right. An ordinance setting an election on April 7th, 2015 for the qualified voters of the city of St. Mary, Missouri to decide whether to forego annual municipal elections for 6 years if the number of candidates filing equal the number of seats up for election in accordance with section 115.124 revised statutes of Missouri.
Okay, I need a motion.
I make a motion to adopt the ordinance number 911,
That's 910.
or 910, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm one ahead.
All in favor?
We need a second.
Oh, second.
What's that then?
Okay, all,
Roll call vote, Alderman Clyde Cassou,
Aye.
Alderman Dennis Bovee,
Aye.
Alderman Gloria Bader.
I'm not sure. I'm not say aye. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Pushing this.
but you're eyeing,
Yeah.
or you're,
No, I won't say nay right now.
okay.
So that is an aye, right?
That's what I said.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, now we have ordinance 911. It's an ordinance establishing regulations of the fire department. Okay, I need a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to ordinance number 911 prior to approving it. So you can do it now or after the second reading.
What,
One is that in the beginning, it says that the firemen will elect the fire chief, and it doesn't say anything about the board approving it. So I would like to make sure that the board approves it, any selection that the volunteer fireman department elected. So, and the other amendment I would like in there is that the fire chief be allowed to have access to any department here, you know, having a key in case of emergency, so you don't have to call somebody to open the place up to fight the fire, or break a door down to get in and access to.
I don't think that's necessary because we have a firefighter that has keys to the building, so I don't think it's necessary that the fire chief has one too.
He's in charge. I thought that would be, because Frankie can't always be on fire call.
Well, that's up to you guys, I mean, it's your call.
What people talking about, the firehouse?
No, to like,
To
City
City
Hall.
Hall, places like that, but they may have to have access.
Why not leave some in the fire department, so
Well, that's where you get a
Whoever-
lockbox. Yeah.
whoever goes to fight the fire, they go there and they get their keys.
well, that's,
So you want me to word it to where it's in a locked, secure place within the firehouse if we, on this?
So they gotta go there anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would make
Correct.
sense
Get the
to me.
truck, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the only two amendments I like, that I saw, but otherwise I think it's a great ordinance.
And has the board come to a consensus for me to add the part about the approval of the chief shall be by the alderman? You're the one to change that too?
It's always been that way.
Yeah,
well, they vote him and
Yeah.
then we approve it.
right.
So
That's
you want
what
that
I
language in there as well?
Right.
Okay. I can redo this. We can table it till next month. I'll put another old business. Or we can pass it on the contingency that I can do this, but I'd rather have it straight.
Who appointed the fire chief this time? Did the board?
They voted on
They
it,
voted on it.
and then we approved it.
Right, we
Yeah.
approved it. We approved it,
There's always been that.
yeah.
And this is basically to give the fire department,
The right to do a little bit
Right.
of stuff.
instead of having to have everything approved by us before.
Exactly.
So, do you guys want to table this till next month? Or do you want to pass it with, David putting this stuff in?
Randy, have you got anything to say about it?
Oh, me being assistant chief, I mean, the part about the keys, I do, I mean, like Dennis was saying, I'm not joking about it. I'm not always around.
Right,
The thing about leaving them locked in the firehouse or whatever in a safe box, I think the best place to actually lock them in a safe box is actually in 41 or 42.
in one of the trucks.
That's in one of our pumpers or apparatuses. Because if we got a fire, one of them are coming, you know, our bolts are coming. And anyways, I mean, if we put them in the firehouse itself, everybody pushes to get them rolling.
You might forget
Yeah,
it, is what you're saying.
So what I do is, I mean, if I'm on scene, that's one thing, I can unlock myself, I gotta have nobody there, 'cause my keys are in the pocket constantly, but if I'm not, then, you know, it's better than breaking the door.
That might be a better idea.
But I mean, if fire alarm's going off somewhere or something like that, and we break down a door, that's, you know, a $200 door frame or whatever.
Right,
And there wasn't no fire there, and then there wasn't no use to break it down, but,
right.
you know, so. But that's what we do with all the other places, like, CMA Hall, all that, we got keys for the gates, so we can get access into it, they're in the trucks. And that way we don't have to cut locks or anything, because, you know, that costs the owner or us, you know,
Right.
doing that, so. So I think the thing about it is with the whole ordinance, me reading the ordinance, going over everything with Dave over it, I think it's actually a good deal on what we're doing with it because we ourselves like to do things, but we can't do nothing unless we actually come to the board to actually explain ourselves what we want to do.
Right.
So I think it's better that the chief and the assistant chief actually got to say so. Now, if it's a big ordeal, then we come to the board. But, you know, minor stuff, you know, taking trucks to training or whatever, I don't think we should have to come to the board to actually approve it. I think we should be able to actually take the or whatever to do training. So I think it's a good deal.
Okay.
Is the board consensus with that, fire truck rather than firehouse?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
fire truck. And then I have a question just for my clarity as far as the actual keys. Like this facility right here, obviously the key to the door to get in, but what about the key to like the collector's office or the clerk's office?
My thing is, honestly, what I would do with that whole point, a wooden door is gonna be cheaper than a metal frame door.
Okay.
You know, if the fire's in there, in that office, we're better off to just break through it anyways to get to.
Okay.
Basically, burn everything in there.
So not the interior
I
office,
wouldn't,
it's just.
I wouldn't worry about the interior
Okay,
office,
okay.
I just
Okay.
basic
Mark's got a
out
question.
there door.
Go ahead.
If I may, I wouldn't have so much a problem with them having a key to my front office. The back part of the office is under a lock, and I keep important files back there along with evidence. I'm gonna have to insist they not be required or be allowed to have a key to that room. They do have bolt cutters. If they absolutely have to get in there, they can
Right.
cut the lock.
And when I write this up, I'm gonna write not interior offices, and I consider that an interior office. So they would just have the key to the front door of your facility.
I would be okay with that.
Okay.
Okay.
I just put it at exterior doors.
Okay.
You know, of entry.
Exterior doors
Okay.
only. Are you guys all okay with that?
Yep. I think I am anyway. How about you, Gloria?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Okay, so,
Well, yeah, we'll just table this till next month and we get it all,
okay.
take that for a bit.
Okay, the next thing is,
We gotta vote to table it since it
Oh,
was
oh.
already motion made.
Okay.
All right,
So,
is that a
Okay.
motion?
I make a motion to table this until the next regular meeting.
second,
So,
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, the next thing is the draft audit. This is the draft copy of what? Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys had time to go over it, but,
It's the same thing as we got time and time before.
right,
We don't have enough people here.
and it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing as every year, so.
It is, if you go to the, everybody always goes to the back page, and last year they said we needed 2 clerks and 2 collectors. This year though, they only said we needed 2 collectors. They're okay with my department because we now have a treasurer who oversees everything I do and does my bank reconciliations and sees every penny that comes out of my office, so they're okay with mine. So it is better than it was last year. That
So
is
we are
one
getting
improvement.
somewhere.
Yeah.
We're improving. Okay. So, we're to department.
Yeah, well, we'll have to, I'd like to get this approved because I have to send a thing to the auditor saying that it's approved to go
Approved.
forward to basically take this work draft off of it and give us final
Okay.
copies.
Right. They're gonna come and explain it anyway.
They will.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, they will.
Right.
So I
So,
make a motion, we approve the draft as written.
my second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Departmental reports.
The only thing I have going on is there's a class on February 17th. It's free, it's in St. John, won't cost any mileage or tuition, you know, for what's called Web EOC, which is an Emergency Operations Center. It's a really big push as a way that you can log into, you know, on the internet. The state will be there so you can request funds, you know, or request resources a lot easier. And if you have people working, you know, like sandbagging or something, you can put those names in there and how many hours they're working. That way it allows you to get reimbursed a lot easier. FEMA pays 80%, state pays 10, we don't have to pick up the 10. $16 an hour, for example, which we would receive, as far as getting money reimbursement. So it's a great system. I applied for it. I'm still waiting for Homeland Security to approve it, but, I'll have an update before the next meeting if I can do that or not.
Okay.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, water and sewer.
Okay, back tees are good, quartering residuals are good. We worked on a leak at Circle Drive and it's still ongoing at this time. Weather turned nasty on us, we can't get in there and do it because we might have to tear up that individual's driveway and I wanna know how far up I gotta go before I do it. So, and I'm gonna try to save those 2 end pieces and the culvert so we don't have to replace those. We just have to replace the concrete. Water towers have a little bit of ice on the top. Okay, 2 standpipes have a little ice because of this freezing cold weather. It's causing misreadings on our thing, but there's no real problem yet. But we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. Okay, so right now there's no real problem. It's just throwing our readings off a little bit.
Is there anything you can do to
No,
keep it from?
basically, the only thing we could do is to circulate it more, and there's no way to do that. We don't have the means to do that. Okay? And we just end up causing more problems in the long run. It's always been that way when it's really freezing cold out. We develop a thin sheet of ice on the top, and it causes misreadings on our monitors, so.
Okay.
But, I thought I'd let you know about it, I mean, really know about it, but it's nothing, not a real problem yet. We worked on several grinders, this week, and, we're still waiting on parts for, antique mall and stuff. So, as soon as, they'll be in this week or the first part of next week, from what I understand. And that's it for water and wastewater.
Okay, park and cemetery.
Yeah, that's me too, man. Went up to the park and cemetery, and it all looks good, we're okay there, no problems that I foresee.
Okay, I have a question. Last meeting, you were talking about somebody going down there and tearing up the park. Have you?
We secured that gate with a lock, so that if somebody wants in there with a vehicle or anything, they'll have to gain access through during the city time or whatever. Somebody's here to let them in.
Okay. Street department?
I don't have a lot. Met with the county over this ditch problem. And I heard so many stories about this was gonna be done, that's gonna be done, this is the way. I finally met with them myself. And what we're gonna do, the big ditch back over behind your house, we're gonna clean that up. And that's about all we're gonna do today, keep it sprayed. And county kind of agrees the same thing. There's no feasible way to fill that in or put tile in it and then cover it, because Connie Williams' ground down here, this ground out here is way up here, and the ditch is right in the middle, right like this. There's no way you could run all the water off on her. Okay, so that's what they decided to do with that ditch, and they offered to give it to us and pay for the spraying, or half the spraying. I told them I'd give them our half to pay for all the spraying, and they didn't want that. They didn't want a part of that.
Try to sell it to me.
Yeah. And the other ditch there in front of your house, we're gonna start on the other side of Fourth, where that tile is. Take that one out. The one up just a little bit higher, or further up. Take it across the street and down just about the end of your property. Okay, and then they're gonna put rock there by the street to keep that from messing up. That's kind of what we got in mind. I'll ask you if you got any questions.
No, I'll have to talk to the commissioner. I was under the
understanding that the back of the house was gonna have a big, where my gazebo is in the back, where you're talking about that it goes into Connie's property. I was wondering how they were gonna do that because they wanted to cover it and then sell me that part of the property. And I'm going, well, who has to maintain it? And if it's a ditch, I'm not gonna maintain it. However, if it was clear, then I would, but I thinking about Connie's property, I don't know how they would bring it all the way over, like you're saying. In the front, they're supposed to put the pipe down there and then make it even so it doesn't erode my property.
Well, it wasn't feasible, and they kind of agreed that we're just gonna have to live with it.
That was what Gary Nelson had told me, so I don't know what they decided.
Other than that, I had nothing.
Okay. Fire department?
You have anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Anyways, I'd like to thank Dollar Tree and Perryville for donating toys to us for the Christmas Santa Claus coming down, and Bader's Place for donating toys to us. We had one call out.
Before you move on,
Yeah,
was there a lot of kids that came?
yeah, we had over 25, I believe, that came.
So that's
Yeah,
good.
so, I mean, we did actually pretty good for the first time. And, we had one call out this month, and, the other thing is we gained one new firefighter. I'm possibly gonna have 2 more coming on. I gotta find out from them this week that they're actually gonna do it. The other thing is we got a first responder course, we're actually starting up in February the 3rd. It's gonna be from 6 to 10. It's basically unlimited for firefighters. I mean, they might take some outsiders, but basically for firefighting purposes. Anyways, the other thing is it's $50 a person. So, anyways, that's gonna be for 10 weeks. It's at Lake Forest Community Center. And
How many firefighters are signing up for that?
I'm signing up myself, and I got 2 more, and then the 2 that actually supposed to be coming on, they're gonna get involved in it too. Anyway, so that might be a good deal there. The other things is, I mean, we took down ornaments for Christmas, we took them down over the weekend. So that's basically all I have.
Gloria, do you have anything to add to that?
Not really, because I've been talking to Frankie about the party and everything else. I don't know.
Okay. Fire, or police department? Do you have anything? He doesn't.
Not at present. No.
Okay. Animal control?
Haven't seen any.
That's good then, I guess. Okay, citizens' participation. Does anybody have anything to say?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ms. Frances Felix Van, and I just wanted to say that I want to go on record as commenting about the deplorable manner in which Ms. Diana Smith, alderperson for Ward 2, has been consistently treated. Now, this afternoon, as soon as the roll call was completed, we were not able to take a breath before Dennis Beauvais wanted to get her off of the table. Now, just out of just plain respect for her having served diligently in her position, she should have been allowed, anybody else, just out of respect for administrative procedure, should have been allowed to at least been given the opportunity to resign her position rather than allowing Dennis Beauvais, as he normally does, to speak to her in such a deplorable manner, and nobody seems to make a, it does not matter. Ms. Smith, as a spokesperson, I voted for you for Ward 2. I want to thank you for hanging in under deplorable situations, being personally attacked. And nobody in administration seems to have anything to say about it. We want, from Ward 2, we want to thank you for your service. And I certainly hope that if any of you all are ever placed in a situation that respect for authority and for service, consistent service, should be the order of the day, regardless of what we know what the ordinances you all are going to put out. but as a respect for a member of your board, you mean to tell me you could not at least give her an opportunity to resign her position rather than having Dennis attack her as he does at every meeting and nobody ever says anything? Thank you, Madam Mayor, and the rest of you all for your type, your brand of service, because it's definitely not what's all over the world. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Alderwoman Diane. She's worked very, very hard on this issue of mine with the water, and it took 8 months to find out that it wasn't personal property, it was city property. With a commissioner that she got in touch with, and I think that's how it got straight, but it still took over a year. She wasn't allowed to talk, she wasn't allowed to bring it up. Everybody kept saying that it was personal property, when all this time it was city property, and she finally brought it to somebody's attention, and I'd like to thank her because everybody here knew the situation. Mayor, you saw the situation. All of you seen the situation, what it was when you were running and, running for office. And I showed it to you. And you all said you were going to do something about it. Then it turned out that it wasn't even your property. Diane was the only one that brought it up, talked to the commissioners, and brought all this up. I admire her, and I thank her very, very much for what she's done.
Okay, anybody else?
We came here out of concern about.
Hang on a second, you need to stand up and state your name and your address, I'm sorry.
I'm Joan Ponder.
And I'm Francis Ponder. And we live at Progress Parkway.
And we came here out of concern over a 2-acre parcel of ground that we have been trying to sell. We have paid city taxes on it for 10 years. We have paid sewer tax every month, and we don't understand why when people want to purchase this property and they come here, they're told that nothing can be done with the lot, but nobody ever told me to stop paying the sewer tax, and we were wanting to understand why this is happening, why people are told here that we can't sell the lot.
Well,
Let me answer that.
you know more about this than
Right,
I.
I'm the floodplain administrator for St. Mary's, and I only spoke to one person regarding this property as far as an actual lot. Oh, mine is David Woods, I'm the floodplain administrator. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One gentleman came in, and I gave him a copy of the flood map of your property. And so he could see with his own eyes this part's in a floodplain. There is a corner that is not, but I did not tell him he cannot build on it. I simply gave him the flood map.
That's not what we were told.
Okay.
We were told from these individuals, and we were told by the realtor, that there will be absolutely, positively no construction on that piece of property ever.
I never said that.
Well, that's what the information.
I would never tell somebody they cannot
and-
build
No,
on a
what you
floodplain.
said it, we're just saying they were told that.
Okay.
And the thing about it is, FEMA was brought up here. Okay, FEMA doesn't own that piece of property. If I wanted to put up a house, if I wanted to put up a shed there, whatever happened to flood insurance? Don't these individuals down at the lower end of town that was totally annihilated by the flood, don't they have flood insurance? If somebody wanted to purchase that piece of property, why not allow them to understand exactly what the situation is if it's floodplain property, which there was just a minimum amount of water on that piece of property. Now all of a sudden FEMA comes along and says, well, that's totally annihilated, you can't put anything there. And that's what they've been told. And that's what we've been told by our realtor.
Right, no, I will never tell somebody they cannot build on their property. If it's in a floodway, you cannot. If it's in a floodplain, which is your situation, they can build. They just have to either elevate it or to put the pass-through so where floodwater can pass through that unobstructed.
Yes, but
That's
sir,
totally
there's been a
possible.
lot of people, several individuals that came here, and they were all told the same thing, and we don't know where it's coming
I
from.
only spoke to one person. I talked to a realtor on the phone, and I sent her the floodplain map is all I did. And then the one gentleman came in, I gave him a copy of the floodplain map.
In the 10 years that we've had that piece of property, we've had it probably in realty at least 8 years. I can't tell you just exactly how long. But in that period of time, there's been at least 6 or 7 individuals come forward and really interested in that piece of property. As soon as they come to the city, that's it.
Okay, and I can't speak for the past.
Because they have been told, and we have been told by the realtor, that the city has said that there's no construction is to be taking place on that piece of property whatsoever.
I cannot tell
Can't
somebody
even-
that, and I have not told anybody that. I mean, you can build, but you have to follow the, you know, the flood rules, you know, either on stilts or pass-throughs.
Okay,
you know.
and these rules and guidelines and regulations have been established by the city or FEMA or who?
We have an ordinance, but it's under FEMA guidelines. I mean, FEMA has rules as far as how to build in a floodplain. And we adhere to those rules, we have to.
So in order for someone to build a house there,
Right.
what type of elevation would they actually need?
You'd have to, if you're gonna, you would have to be at least 1 foot above the floodplain elevation. That's what our ordinance says, 1 foot.
That's right. And,
So in other words, these houses that are on the lower end of town, they're all a foot above the floodplain?
If they're grandfathered in, I mean, if they were built before the, you know, FEMA designated them in floodplain areas, then they go by the old flood maps. The new flood, whatever, the flood maps that we have are for new construction. I can't go to an existing house and say, oh, by the way, they moved the floodplain, you have to change your property. We can't do that.
We were just wondering if legally, the city had the right to tell us that we could not do this, because we are doing it coming from City Hall, and all we want to know is what can we do about it, and where's this information coming
Right,
from?
and if somebody wants to build on there, they can, you know, they have to do the elevation certificate and then do all the work, you know, to get their floodplain permit.
That doesn't answer.
Can't believe what I had to go through to build on mine.
Yeah. You can vouch for that.
I'm telling you, it's right, it's a mess, and
It's a
So all these years
Yes,
we've
it
been
is.
I
paying
have
sewer
one
tax
insurance with FEMA.
and we own a dead
I'm
horse.
agreeing with you.
Well, I mean, you can build on there, you just have to build by the, you know, floodplain guidelines. If you're in the floodplain, there's part of your property that's not, I mean,
One of the nicest lots in St. Mary's, and just last week I read this article about trying to get people to St. Mary's to build here, for businesses, and I'm like, that's one of the most beautiful lots in town.
we got all kinds of property in the buyout that, but unfortunately it's in a floodplain. You know, floodplain, you have to build certain ways. That's, I mean, it's not the city's rule, that's FEMA's rules, we just have to adhere by them.
What did they do, elevate that a great number of feet since the flood? I mean, there was just a minimum amount of water on that piece of property. In '93, there was water in places that had never been before.
Right, and we do not make the flood maps. FEMA makes the flood maps.
Actually, they lowered,
They what?
they lowered. The floodplain lowered it. So I don't know where you're at, what, but you can check it out.
Oh, gee,
The
thanks.
problem is, FEMA's involved. They're trying to understand, I went to the, if you can't understand what they tell you. I'm serious.
No, it's a mess.
One tell you one thing, one tell you another when you talk.
Well, I'm not paying taxes on that thing next year. Somebody buys it up for taxes, because I've improved that property, tore all them old shacks down and buildings down and everything else, and went through all kinds of pains, and now it ain't worth it, cotton picking Johnson grass with drugs on it.
And I do understand whether you believe it or not.
Okay, does anybody else have anything?
You don't have any problem with us leaving?
No, oh, no, you're welcome to leave.
thank you, Mr. Ponder.
You're welcome.
Have a good night, Terry.
Norman Pruitt, Bullgate Township Representative.
You want to buy it?
I apologize for being late, I had a previous appointment. I'm a little in the dark, I need someone to explain to me what transpired to what business now. I think some type of explanation need to be given to me so I can share with the other constituents about what has transpired, because I don't know.
Well, Mrs. Smith moved out of St. Mary. She is no longer a St. Mary resident. And, where's it at?
The state statute.
The state statute states that you have to be an inhabitant and resident in order to be an alderman. She moved, so she is no longer living here, so she can no longer be an alderman.
And Mr. Felix said I was not aware of that statute, or I would have taken care of this sooner. I thought that I came to this meeting and I could resign from that. And so, Mr. Bovee jumped right in there and threw me off the board, basically. So I understand that that's the rule. You have to be actually in a home, living here. I understand. I wasn't aware of that, so my mistake. But I do have a resignation letter, so when everybody is finished with whatever they want to say, I'm going to go ahead and resign my position.
Like I said, I'm truly, I apologize for being late, because what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is, I thought professional courtesy should have been extended based on what I've heard.
Well, it was to another alderman last year.
No, what I'm saying is, I do plan on taking this further and sharing my opinions based on legal standing with my other person, because I have two, Dennis Bovee, excuse me for pointing, Dennis Bovee and Mrs. Smith. And thank you for your service. I think it's been a long, hard battle. I think you've done a great job. Like all of you guys have started to do, working as a team. I think that's important for our city to go forward. I think it's very important that we be very respectful in dealing with others. And it sounds like we've kind of tripped a little bit and went back a couple of steps. But I truly thank you for your service. Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, you're welcome. As everyone here is aware, I have had the opportunity to sell my properties here and relocate out of state. Therefore, I must resign my position at the close of this meeting. I want to thank the people of St. Mary for electing me to represent them as alderwoman. I leave knowing that I tried. I have always valued the people's trust and confidence and our constitutional rights, which we must preserve. I have sought the betterment of St. Mary by proposing progressive ideas and advocating for public participation, governmental transparency, and accountability of elected officials and city employees. I also want to thank all of those these past few years who have strongly opposed me in these same areas. Their actions strengthened my resolve, taught me perseverance under pressure, and gave me the courage to seek out answers to questions not readily available to the general public. I leave this position with my character and integrity intact. My hope for St. Mary is that there are others who will step up, have the courage to face the giants, and move this city forward. The groundwork has been laid. Elect people in April who will be builders and progressive thinkers. Thank you again for the privilege of government service.
What's that? Does anybody else have anything? Okay, I need a motion to close this meeting so we can go into closed session.
Need a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Opposed?